Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Primetime Carolina, the best damn Panthers podcast in the whole entire world. I am joined with my co-host, Dave LaFave, a special guest by the name of Chris with us today. We're coming off a special dub here. We're 3-0, Thursday night. A little bit of a bittersweet win, I guess you could say. But we've got a lot to talk about. Guys, how y'all doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Happy, man. 3-0. Can't complain about it.
Exactly. Can't complain too much. Before we get started today, our special guest, Chris, I'm going to let Dave take over this part. Just want to introduce him, and we've got some special announcements we want to get out. So, Dave, go ahead and make that known.
All right. So, my friend Chris here is a Roaring Riot member, Port City Riot member, correct, and season ticket holder. He has some special information for people in the Wilmington area about an event he's holding, and we brought him on so he could share it with you. So, Chris, go ahead and tell us about your event for the Cowboys game.
All right, thanks, Dave. Jack's Fifth Avenue at Deli and Ale House on New Center Drive is where the Port City Riot meets for games. We're going to have a big thing out there for the Dallas game on October the 3rd. Doors will open at 11 o'clock. And the game obviously starts at 1. The Panthers are wearing blue, so wear your blue. It's a membership drive for the Port City Riot. And we're trying to get as many new members of the Riot as we possibly can in this area to get some team support coming out to Jackson, watching the games, that sort of thing. We're going to enter every person that signs up that day. Their name will be entered into a drawing for a free bucket of beer, courtesy of the Riot. And this isn't a promise or anything like that, but I contacted the Panthers organization about getting maybe Sir Purr or some top cats to come, and they wrote me back a very promising email saying they were going to do what they could for us. So hopefully we're going to have some support from the Panthers there that day.
That's
Awesome.
that's fantastic. That's awesome. I didn't even know about this until coming onto the show, so that's awesome. I definitely would love to be there and to come and see what everything's about. I've heard a lot about Jack's. I've never been personally, so that'd be pretty cool. I'll definitely come check it out.
Well, the best thing about Jack's is that you're not going to find any Patriot stuff on the wall or Steeler stuff. It's all Panther stuff. The guy that owns it is a big Panther fan, and all the fans that show up are mostly Panther fans. There'll be a few stragglers of other teams and stuff like that. And I expect with Dallas being the game, you'll get a couple of Dallas fans in there too. We'll stick over the corner someplace and not pay any attention to them.
Just gives us more people to talk smack to when we beat them.
Exactly. They get a TV in a bathroom stall, right, Chris?
Yeah, exactly, right.
All right. So we'll see them next to the urinals. Hopefully we won't get any on them.
We're going to set up all our tailgate stuff outside and put my truck and my dad's truck out front, post them up so everybody can check that out. And just have a home gate there at Jack.
Gotcha. And we wanted to show the world your amazing new truck that you just got wrapped, but the Wi-Fi wasn't cooperating, so I don't know if that's possible. But,
had to come
if
to Jack's
you want to see it, you need to head to Jack's on October the 3rd for the Cowboys game. It'll be parked out front. Go ahead, Tanner. What were you going to say?
Do you guys have any social media, Facebook page, or anything that anyone can get in contact with you?
There is a Port City Riot Facebook page. You can also just go straight to my page. Either one.
Okay, cool deal. I'll definitely check it out. So if you heard the man, go check out the Port City Riot on Facebook. Check out his personal Facebook page, and I think that's awesome. Build this thing up.
Right, exactly.
Chris, what is your membership looking like right now, and what do you hope to get it to?
Well, right now I think we're around 5 or 6. Honestly, we had a big, strong following in 2015, and then the day after the Super Bowl kind of fell off. So I'm hoping that this undefeated record right now will bring the fans back out. And,
wow.
I think a lot of fans feel like that as far away as we are, the organization doesn't really care about us. And that's one of the reasons that I think the Panthers have decided, because I told them that when I wrote them that email. And they're like, well, we don't want people feeling that way. We're going to do what we can for you. They're comping the visit. We don't have to pay for it or anything.
Yeah, that's surprising. I definitely thought you guys had more, but we're definitely aiming to get you up there.
Yeah, I'd like to get it. You have to have 25 to be an official faction of the Roaring Riot.
Okay.
So I'm 30.
25-30. Sounds good.
There are about 400 members, 400 followers on our website.
Okay.
And, we can get half of that. That'd be pretty good.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
That's
sounds
awesome.
good. Chris,
Definitely,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, definitely consider myself in. And it's funny you mentioned about after the Super Bowl, the wagon kind of fell off. That's very true. It just speaks that there are, unfortunately, a good amount of fair weather fans out there. Because I remember I was in it was my freshman year of college whenever we were in the Super Bowl, and it was just we were undefeated. And every party, every place I'd go to was nothing but people in Panthers gear. I'm like, look, I've been repping this since like I was 4 or 5 years old. You guys are all fakes. And then as soon as, unfortunately, we lost, everybody disappeared. So let's hope we can build up a stronger fan base now that we've got a new staff and everybody in.
I had some friends of mine. I used to pick on them a little bit when I'd see them at like the watch parties and stuff. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm glad you showed up, man. Don't roll out on us. Don't roll out on us." Like, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. Haven't seen that person since 2015.
Hey, we all know at least a few of those bandwagons.
Unfortunately,
many of them can't name any player on the team. If you ask them, they'll tell you Cam Newton.
Yeah, right.
But that is what it is. Well, Chris, I will see you that day. I plan on being there on October 3rd, so can't wait to watch the game. It's going to be a good one. Before we let you go, could you give us your thoughts on the 3-0 start and what you expect in that Cowboys game?
I'm really happy with 3-0, getting off to a hot start like that. It was an important thing. You and I were talking about this earlier. We go 3-0 right now, and if we go 500 the rest of the season, we're 10-7. That's playoffs.
Yep.
And like I was telling you, I think we are changing up our blocking schemes this week. We're going to do a lot of different things. The fact that we do not have McCaffrey, and the Cowboys, their defense understands that, and they're like, we don't have to center on that one guy. We can spread it around a little bit and try to get to that quarterback, which is what happened after McCaffrey left in the Houston game. They were able to get to him a little more because they didn't have to key on what McCaffrey was doing, and they could rush the quarterback a little better. But we made some changes, came out in the second half, played a little better. So I feel that we're changing up our blocking schemes this week. We're going to do a lot of things with tight end blocking and things like that, and try to get Sam a little extra time to throw that ball because I feel like he can really exploit that secondary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
If there is a weak spot for Dallas, it's going to be their defense and specifically their secondary. So if we're going to win that game, that's what we need to take advantage of for sure. All right. Anything else you want to share before you head out, Chris? I know you told me you had to make it to a baseball game tonight.
I'm going to go see the Durham Bulls. And I didn't know this till yesterday. I've been planning on going to the game for a while, and I got a thing. Jonathan Stewart is going to be there signing autographs.
Hey. Nice.
Hey, tell him to come to Jack's next weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to.
There you go. That would be good for the drive.
Absolutely.
That would be.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, thanks for coming on, Chris. Can't wait to see you on Sunday the 3rd. And good luck.
I like it. It.
I love the logo, man. It's got the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge on top. Who designed the logo for you, Chris?
I designed the logo, and another guy, Mike D, who's a computer guru. I just drew it with markers, and he made it into a digital thing, so we can make stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a fantastic logo.
It is hot.
I like it. That's awesome. I definitely I plan on coming. I don't see why I won't be there. So I'd love to come check it out and see what everything's going on, and we'll get as many people as we can, and we'll kick that Cowboys ass together.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can't wait to see you guys, man.
All right, Chris. Safe travels, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. All right. And then there were two to talk about the 3-0 Carolina Panthers. Where do we want to start with this conversation, Chris? Or excuse me, Tanner. Sorry, switch people on me real quick.
Okay, there's a lot to get into here when it comes to being 3-0. Chris is back with us.
He's on. He's off. I don't know.
Regarding, the Panthers start to 3-0, there's a lot to get into. Obviously, you know, some good, some bad. It's a pretty bittersweet feeling, but I'm looking at it from an optimistic perspective, and here's how I look at the game. Okay, first off, the Panthers are 3-0. That's fantastic. Obviously, we know that we got decimated by injuries. J.C. Horn breaks his foot. Christian McCaffrey's got a hamstring issue. We don't know the specifics of it, really. I'm hearing it's going to be a couple weeks, whatever. We had a couple other minor guys get hurt here and there, and that just goes to show that I think Thursday night games, not just because Panthers players got hurt. I've been saying this for years. They need to get rid of Thursday night games. It's too quick of a turnaround for these guys. They get hurt. They're just not prepared physically, and I think it really hurts a lot of teams. But the way I'm looking at it, look, last year we didn't have McCaffrey for pretty much all season. Next man up. I don't like how when he was out, the tide kind of turned a little bit. We were down on ourselves. So I get it. He's our best player. But look, this is 52 other guys on this roster that can play some football. And I get he's an important part. Wish he was here, but we're 3-0. We've got other things we got to accomplish. Next man up. Let's see what we can do, and let's be the best team we can be. There's no time for slowing down and pouting. He will come back. We will be just fine. We're going to make it work, and, let's get after it. And the best thing I liked from this team was that even though it's the Texans, I know they're not a great team. They're playing with their third-string quarterback, blah, 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 whatever. Previous Panthers teams would play down to competition, and once they would, Ron Rivera-led team, once they were shown adversity, they would crumble. This team, even though it was against a not very good Texans team, faced adversity at halftime. It was a close game. They had momentum. They were like, you know what, McCaffrey's out. All of a sudden, second half, we turned it on. We were able to beat that adversity and show that we can overcome that. That's a small but important step to me in our organization's direction and our culture and our team, and we were able to just overcome that and win the game still. So,
yeah, Tanner, there's a lot of different points you just made there, so I'm going to try to start at the top and work my way down.
I'm sorry, I had to get it all off my chest.
You're good, man. You're good. So Thursday night football, I agree. It's an abomination. It's just not right. I remember on Tuesday, it felt like we had just beat the Saints. And then in my head, I'm like, oh my God, we play again the day after tomorrow. Like, we're already about to play again. How are these guys even rested? And that's where you see all these injuries come into play. And it's not just this game. It's been a conversation about Thursday night football for a long time. But, I guess it is what it is. It sucks because, we took the brunt of it. We lost Christian McCaffrey, our best player. Like you said, I think we're going to be okay without him. It's going to make this Dallas game that much tougher because I think this was the toughest game we have for about 5 or 6 weeks. So especially against a defense with a weak secondary, we could, use him in the slot and all over the place to, create mismatches and things, especially get guys open down the field against that secondary. But he's not going to be there, so we won't really get into that conversation. I saw the team was looking at Duke Johnson to possibly come in and fill one of those running back spots. I think that would be a good replacement for McCaffrey. Well, replacement, air quotes. We can't really call anyone a Christian McCaffrey replacement, but Duke Johnson is a good receiving running back, and clearly that's what we were missing whenever McCaffrey came out. It was very obvious that Hubbard and Royce Freeman were not the receivers that McCaffrey is. So if we can get a receiving running back into the mix so we can, get him the ball on some of those screen passes and some of those checkdowns that McCaffrey would usually take, or even some of those matchups in the slot that McCaffrey always takes advantage of with linebackers, that would be great. He's also a pretty good blocking running back, pass blocking running back. So I think he would be a great fit if we did, in fact, sign him. The next injury, J.C. Horn. To me, this one's, I don't want to say bigger than McCaffrey, but it's probably just as big on the defensive side of the ball because this is a guy who shut down half the field for the whole game. All 3 games, I think he's allowed, 1 or 2 receptions. Quarterbacks are having no success throwing his way. Most of them aren't even trying to throw his way, so you can't even say they're not having success because they're not even trying. So he's going to be out for hopefully not the whole season. You know, we're looking at probably 2 months. He'll probably be back in like December. If he comes back, he'll be back just in time for the playoffs. But the silver lining here is that we talked about this last I guess it wasn't last week, but a few days ago before the Texans game, is A.J. Boye is coming back. So he's going to be able to step into the J.C. Horn role, and hopefully he'll be good enough that our defense will be fine. Our defense will probably not be quite as good, but I still expect them to be very good defense. You look at the front seven of this defense, that hasn't changed. That's the part that's so unstoppable. Those defensive ends, the front four, Daquan Jones, Derek Brown, Hassan Reddick, and Brian Burns, these guys are unstoppable up front, okay? So as long as they continue to get that pass rush, we're going to be okay on the back end, okay? And I wonder if A.J. Boye, I know people say he's washed, and I understand that, but this is a guy who just a couple years ago was seen as one of the best corners in the league. You know, you're talking 2016. 2016. He was with the Jaguars when they had that great defense with Jalen Ramsey. They went to the AFC Championship game. He was right there considered one of the best corners in the league. That was 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Okay, so if he can come in, and I kind of liken it to Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, whenever the Panthers had their 2015 run, he was a guy that a lot of people saw as washed. But when he came into a defense that was good and all he had to do was hold down his spot and he didn't have to worry about trying to uplift everybody else, he was fine. He was a good player. He's a good, solid corner. And that's what you like with a veteran corner, bringing him into a good defense. They know what to do. They're experienced. As long as he can hold down his spot, I think our defense can be fine. So look for him to step up. I really hope he can do so. That being said, I don't remember what your last point was. I was trying to work my way down the list. But I'll hand it back to you because I know I've been rambling here for a minute.
My last point was about facing adversity. So if you want to piggyback off that, I would say how in the past Panthers face adversity against a team that's worse than them, they fall. This time we didn't see that. What were your thoughts on that?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So I was talking to Chris about this before we actually started the meeting. The second quarter was absolutely abysmal for the Panthers, specifically after McCaffrey went out. Now, I think a lot of that is, it could have been a gut punch to the psyche of the team. They're like, oh, crap, our best player is going down. What are we going to do? I think that was part of it. But I also think it was a schematic thing, which Chris kind of touched on. Whenever McCaffrey came out of the game, I think our game plan was we want McCaffrey lined up against linebackers. We do this a lot. We did this a lot against the Jets. We did a lot against the Saints. Put McCaffrey on that inside slot, line him up against a linebacker. He's going to win every time. I think we were trying to do a lot of that in this game. When McCaffrey went down, you notice we still came out in a lot of passing sets, but we didn't have anyone we could throw to the way we could throw to McCaffrey. So Sam Darnold was getting pressured quick. He was getting sacked. He was fumbling the ball, and it was just ugly. But in the second half, I have to get credit to Joe Brady. He fixed it. They didn't come out in all these throwing 5 wide sets like they did in the first half. They brought in 2 and 3 tight ends, and they ran the ball. They went play action. They went good maybe not max protections, but they went good protections, kept extra guys in to block, including tight ends. Tommy Trimble, that's when he, started showing out there in the third quarter. After they made the adjustment, started getting extra tight ends into the game like they needed to for that extra protection. They started working those seams with the tight ends on play action. And after that, the C's kind of settled a little bit, and the team got their feet back under them. And like you said, they closed the game out well. And Matt Rule talked about that after the game. He said, we want to keep attacking. We don't want to just, wait for the clock to run out, which is something we always saw, like you said, in the Ron Rivera era, and it's usually why we would give up leads. Early on in the Ron Rivera era, we blew games almost every time in that situation. Over time, we got better at it, and, we would still blow them sometimes. But, yeah, to your point, the team responded well to adversity, and I thought the coaches responded well to adversity too. And if you're playing a 17-game season, there's going to be adversity you're going to have to respond to. And I think as ugly as that second quarter was, They turned it around in the second half. Sam Darnold stepped up like the leader he needs to be, and the team played a great second half. They closed out this game, and they put up a respectable score, 24-9. I said it after the game, 24-9. You cannot complain about a 24-9 win in the NFL. It doesn't matter who you're playing. So the team responded well to adversity. I agree with you, Tanner.
Thank you. And shout out to our boy Joey Sly, who I didn't even know played for the Texans. He did miss a PAT, which was nice. That gave us the the lead at half. It would have been a tie game. So shout out to him. But kind of piggybacking off what you said there, we were able to face adversity. Now, what I think is, I'm not going to say it's a blessing in disguise. I guess that you could say it's a bright spot, is that if you watch that second half, I feel like we saw – because we all know what the Panthers' game plan was for the first half of the season, for at least. It was going to be, we've got Christian McCaffrey, we've got Sam Darnold, new quarterback. We're going to use him, get him comfortable, dump off the ball, not too much. Okay, that is essentially gone out the window. This is now Sam Darnold's team. And what I liked and what I saw was that in the second half, Darnold, he made some, I think this was his best game as a Panther. I do. He did have he did get stripped twice. It's something he needs to work on, just holding the ball up higher. I mean, luckily we got both of them back. I don't think the Panthers have ever recovered their own fumble before. I swear it happened twice.
I swear, man.
I don't think it's ever happened. But we got it back. But Darnold he was just making plays, man, just throwing the ball with laser accuracy. He had like a 30-yard run. It got called back for holding, which was garbage. And we'll talk about the refs here in a little bit. But he made plays and he stepped up when he needed to. The play actions were there. The deep ball was there. Him and DJ Moore are like this. I kind of feel bad for Robbie Anderson. He's not getting
right.
It's like last year, Teddy was all about throwing to Robbie Anderson. Didn't throw the ball to DJ. Now it's a complete reverse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we saw Sam Darnold grow up a little bit, and you could tell. I watched the post-game interview on NFL Network, and he's excited. He's like, this is my team now, and I think we're going to see him grow up, and he's going to do it the right way. I don't think it's like, oh, shit, Sam Darnold's in charge. He's going to start forcing turnovers. I think he knows, like, hey, I've got good players. I don't have to make dumb decisions and do things that I would have done in New York. I'm confident in myself. I know what I can do. I know I've got playmakers around me. I've got a good coaching staff. I like what I saw from him. And even though I hate to see McCaffrey out, I think this is somewhat better for his development down the road.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, and I think you're right. I think it will be good for his development, because he has relied on McCaffrey a lot in these first few games. So who knows what that could mean for the team, moving forward as we get late into the season. Maybe some things that Sam Darnold picks up in these next few games without McCaffrey will pay off later on, and it'll be things that'll be the difference in games late in December or early January or early February. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not, but I am.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad of serious there. Who knows? I know people don't want to give us the respect at this point. It's funny because before we played the Saints, everybody was like, dude, the Saints are going to crush the Panthers. The Panthers are going to get steamrolled by the Saints. The Saints just blew out the Packers. They made Aaron Rodgers look like a JV quarterback. The Panthers are going to get destroyed by the Saints. And as soon as we beat the Saints, they're like finding any way to discredit us that they can. I told somebody, I swear to God, the Saints better beat us 52-3 next time we play. The way that their fans and the media are downplaying that victory like it was nothing. Like we didn't hold them to 180 yards or whatever. Put some respect on our defense's name, man.
Listen, man, I love the spot the Panthers are in right now. We are the best. This is the same way when 2015 we were undefeated for pretty much all year. Oh, well, they've played 11 bad teams. Okay, look.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that in 2015 when we were 15-0, we were the best team of all time. Obviously, people know we weren't. But you can't control who you play, but we played damn well, and we're always the best when the Panthers are looked down upon. They don't get credit for the wins. They don't get this and that. That's fine with me because we don't need that. We're just going to keep doing what we do. So I'm fine with that. You mentioned Tommy Tremble. I got to give my man a shout out. When he got that ball at like the 5-yard line, like the end around, dude, I jumped out of my recliner. I did. I jumped out of my recliner. I had 3 of my buddies ever watching the game. I high-fived everybody. They were like, why are you so hype? I was like, dude, Tommy Tremble is the man. We mentioned it in the previous episodes when talking about the draft. He was,
yes, sir,
besides J.C. Horn, and he was my favorite pick of the draft because he was so versatile, and I knew what he could do. And he caught a couple passes. He ran for a touchdown. I mean, this dude, he can do it all. I'm telling you, watch out for this guy, man. He could be scary.
Yeah, absolutely. We love Tommy Tremble on the Primetime Carolina podcast, dude. We've been fans since day one. But who else I was excited to see getting a little more involved was Terrace Marshall. Caught 4 passes. Well, where's the stats? Aren't they in front of us? 4 passes for like 48 yards. 4 passes for 48 yards. So he got involved, a long of 23.
One of those I will mention was a crucial 3rd down catch where he caught the ball like kind of in front and he kind of fell back. They gave him the forward progress.
Absolutely. And that was at that point in the game that we were just talking about where the Panthers could have just tried to run out the clock, but they decided to be aggressive, and it paid off for them. And I think that that's something that good teams do that people don't talk about a lot is they don't sit on a lead and wait for victory. Excuse me. They go get it. They go get the win that's in front of them. They go get first downs. They go attack the end zone. They don't just wait when they have a lead and try to wait for the clock to run out because that's how you get beat. And we've seen it in the past. And I love that Matt Rule doesn't have that attitude. I love that he feels like there's always more points out there. There's always more yards out there. There's no reason for us to sit back and wait when we can go attack this victory.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You're not seeing a whole lot of that. I think you saw it a little bit in the beginning, the first 2 games of the year, but that's it's a little bit vanilla in the beginning, but I think now, considering the situation we're in with Christian McCaffrey, we don't have that benefit. So Panthers are going to have to get creative, and I think they're going to do a great job of doing that. I do give credit to Joe Brady. One thing I don't like, though, is I feel like we've gone for it. We got to get better on our 4th and short play calls.
Absolutely.
I can't live with just running the ball up the middle on 4th down. I can't – with Chuba Hubbard, I can't do it. It's just he's a smaller back. They're going to stack the box. Get creative. I've been waiting for like an outside pitch because the outsides are not being contained. On like 4th and short, we're at the goal line. We've gone for it a couple times, haven't gotten it. Pitch that thing outside. Let them run to the sideline, try to pick up the yard or dive into the end zone. Something is better than just running the ball up the middle. We don't have Derrick Henry. We don't have Cam Newton. We don't have Vita Vea or whatever his name is in the backfield playing fullback. You got to get a little creative. That's my only nitpick.
No, I agree with you, Tanner. And that's kind of the thing that stood out for these 3 games is as good as the Panthers have been as a team and as good as they've been on offense, they're still struggling mightily on short yardage situations, and they're still struggling in the red zone. And that's 2 places where you cannot fail if you're going to be a team that goes deep into the playoffs. So – we can give them the benefit of the doubt because the season's still young, but as time moves forward, we have got to be better or we're not going to win tight games against good teams.
Dude, look, Sam Darnold's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. I get like 2 of them are like QB sneaks, but the dude's got wheels. Like, I'm not saying he's, a dual threat quarterback, but I feel like you can run a couple, RPOs and things like that to help throw the defense off. I mean, the guy can run. Like, he can fake it to McCaffrey at the 1-yard line when it's 4th and 1 and then take the ball and run. Like, I don't see I think I'd like to see him run the ball a little bit more, honestly. He's got legs.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think in this game, on that 4th and short that we're talking about there at the end of the second quarter, right after McCaffrey went out, I think if he kept that, I think he could have got that first down and probably scored And I also think there was one in the Jets game where he did the same thing. He handed the ball off, and if he kept it, he probably could have scored. So I think part of that might just be he still needs to get his confidence up like we've been talking about and feel like, hey, this is Christian McCaffrey's team, but I'm the quarterback. I can keep this ball, and I can take it. So I don't feel like he's completely comfortable in that regard just yet, but I think moving forward, we need to see him take that step where he says, you know what, I'm a captain on this team too. This is my team too. I'm the quarterback of this team. I need to take ownership of this offense when we are in these critical situations. So moving forward, I hope to see that from Sam Darnold. I think we saw that in the second half of this game. We started seeing the steps in the right direction. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but I agree with you that we need to be much better in short yardage situations.
Absolutely. I agree. And last thing about the offense, we've gotten better. We've taken baby steps every single game. I've seen improvements, so I like it. So let's flip the switch, talk about the defense. Defense, man, they're as good as advertised. I don't care who you play. Panthers defense is top 3 in the NFL. They might be the best. With a healthy J.C. Horn, they might be the best. Now, we're going to see how good they are when they go against this Cowboys offense because they're elite. They've got weapons, so I'm excited for it. But they've also got a very good offensive line. But Brian Burns, Hassan Reddick, Derek Brown, I mean, these got Morgan Fox. I love some Morgan Fox, man. He's been a hell of a player. Dude, we've got guys, man. I love watching this defense play.
Yeah, if there was one game here in this opening stretch where it was like, man, we really need J.C. Horn to step up in that game, it would be this game against the Cowboys because they have 3 great wide receivers. The Panthers used J.C. Horn a lot in the slot in this past game. The Cowboys like to put CeeDee Lamb in the slot to create mismatches with his big body and his great speed. So it would have been great to have him for this game, but we have to move forward knowing that we don't have J.C. Horn for the foreseeable future. So the guys that we do have are going to have to step up. That being said, we still have our front, like we talked about before. So the Cowboys' offensive line is not what it was just a few years ago. You can get after the quarterback a little bit. You can stop the run. We've seen Ezekiel Elliott with a slow start to this season, for the 3rd year in a row or whatever. I've tried to tell people he was overrated a long time ago. No one will listen. But, that's not the topic of discussion. Anyway, you can win against that offensive line, which used to be a lot harder not that long ago. We just need to keep Dak in the pocket, collapse the pocket, don't give him anywhere to run, and the guys on the back end are going to have to step up. It's going to be some tough matchups, but do you want to be great or not?
Exactly. So, I mean, and you look at our teams in the past that have had great defensive lines. The secondary has never been great. So I think with a defensive line this good, I mean, the secondary doesn't – but, I hate to lose J.C. Horn, but, we can afford to do so. And this is something else we talked about in previous shows is we like the depth on this team. And that's how, how they were building it. So, obviously the replacements aren't on J.C. Horn's level. I feel like we've got guys that I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's not going to get abused whenever he's getting, lined up one-on-one with somebody. I like our secondary. I like the backups we have. Not saying they're going to, be great, but I think they're serviceable. And, with a defensive line this good that can get after the quarterback, can stop the run, because we're going to stop the run. There's no doubt about that. Zeke's not going to run the ball. This is going to be an air-it-out kind of game for Dallas. And we can get after the quarterback, make some, force some turnovers, do what we can do. I like what we have. And I can't say the same about the Cowboys defense. Their secondary is not good. And this is going to be Sam Darnold's air it out game. And he's going to throw all over the field, I think.
I think that's a fair assumption because the Cowboys front 7 is definitely the strength of their defense and the secondary is going to be the weakest part. I will say I do kind of worry about Sam Darnold having an air-it-out game just because our offensive line is not really very good, and I think that was pretty obvious in the last game. Sam Darnold got sacked 3 times. It was nice to see – man, I'm switching up quick because I had to get that out, but I'm going back to defense now. Keith Taylor got some reps at corner in the last game, which I thought was good. I think Stanley Thomas Oliver's been pretty good whenever he's been able to get into the game. I've been very happy with his development here in his second year. But going off what you were talking about before, it reminded me of something I saw, so I had to look it up real quick. So the Panthers defense, it says, has reached historic levels. This is coming from Jeff Kerr, CBS. The Panthers defense has reached historic levels through 3 games. Carolina has allowed 573 yards through 3 games, the lowest total of any team since the 2008 Ravens. Only the 2008 Ravens, 2006 Chargers, 1999 Bucks, and 1992 Eagles have allowed fewer yards since 1990.
The stats speak for themselves. Keep
so
watching our defense.
Sorry?
I said, hey, I was listening to Undisputed this morning, some of their clips, because I saw a clip come across Baker and Darnold, and they were talking about them. And listen, I love my boy Shannon Sharp, but he was down the Panthers defense. Shannon, come on, man. Come on, this defense is legit. This defense is legit. And then they also mentioned that we played Jacksonville this season. We haven't played Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So I understand they watch a lot of sports. It's a small nitpick, but hey, this defense is legit.
I don't, this is why I tell people you got to listen to the local podcasters. We know the team. These guys are trying to cover 30 teams in 4 different sports, man. They can't keep up with all of it. We watch every single down over and over again. We know about the Panthers. This defense is they're always going to keep the Panthers in games because their pass rush is so good. And if you have a team who can get after the quarterback, then you have a team who can beat anybody. That's just the way it is, especially when you have the talent the Panthers have on offense that can put up points. When you have, an elite receiving core, we're down our running back, fine. You have a quarterback playing good, consistent football, throwing 300 yards in 2 of the last 3 games, almost 300 yards in the 3rd game against the Jets. So the offense is good, and the defense is going to get after the quarterback and force turnovers. So, I mean, there's nothing not to like about the Panthers right now. And honestly, if you are finding things not to like about the Panthers, you might be a hater. You might need to go look in the mirror and say, am I a hater? You might need to fill out an application to Haters R Us because you might be one of them.
Haters R Us now hiring. I love it.
Now hiring anyone who doesn't like the Panthers.
You know what? You know who needs to fill out an application for Haters R Us?
Tell me.
The freaking refs, dude. Oh, my God. They were complete. Listen, man, I don't care if you are the biggest Panthers hater of all time. You cannot watch that game and tell me that that was the most garbage calls I've seen in a long time. When the one happened with the pass interference, when it was like 15 yards over the receiver's head with Deshaun Jackson, I almost kicked my TV in. I was like,
Tanner, I passed out just thinking about it.
How was that a penalty? It's ridiculous.
Dude, Tanner. How many 3rd downs did the refs bail these guys out? How many negative plays did the refs bail these guys out? How many incomplete passes did these refs bail these guys out? What was with the offsides on the false start where the Texans player clearly moved first? No. Yeah. How about this one, Tanner? The fumble that they called an incomplete pass in which Davis Mills was handled by 3 Panthers. The ball came flying out. Where did his arm move, Tanner? Where did his arm move? The NFL needs to look at these referees ASAP and possibly fire somebody because they were horrific.
Man, they were like, hey, we need someone to work on Thursday. Anybody feel like doing it? Okay, yeah, I need some extra money. All right, we'll pick you guys. Like, good Lord, man, it was garbage. It was complete garbage. Listen, and you know what? They made their fair share of bad calls on the Texans too. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that, but it was just overall just bad officiating on both sides, especially on the Panthers front, man. And the ineligible guy downfield on the punt, I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know, man. It was a tough one to watch as far as officiating went. I mean, I think we had like 8 or 9 penalties. I can't remember, but it was just like Good Lord,
Yeah,
man.
and this goes back to that horrible second quarter, which I think is when a lot of those penalties came, and then into the third quarter. It was just like we could not do anything right. And it was like as soon as something did go right, they stepped in and screwed it up for us. And it was usually on a bad call. And like you said, they had bad calls for the Texans too, but those bad calls were definitely lopsided, and we were getting, the majority of them. So it was tough to watch, man. It got to a point where it's like this has to be, somebody has something on this game. There's just no other explanation for how bad some of these calls were.
Yeah, they were complete garbage time, and the absolute worst one was Dante Jackson, where he was covering the guy. The ball went 15 yards out of bounds, and they threw a pass interference call. It was complete. Oh my God, it was god awful.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
So
Jackson
bad.
had his place established in front of the receiver at the top of the route. The ball went 15 yards over both their heads, and it was somehow pass interference. If anything, the wide receiver ran into him.
Yeah, I honestly was surprised Rule didn't start fighting one of the refs, because I probably would have. I was like, if he just starts making a ruckus and gets thrown out, I'll approve it, just because how bad the officiating was. I didn't care at that point.
It was unbelievable, Tanner. It was unbelievable.
And just a quick shout out to Dante Jackson. I just mentioned him. Dude played an amazing game. He's earning that contract, and he's going to get tested here now with J.C. Horn out of the game. His tackling's been much better, much, much better.
Yeah.
We don't even be an elite tackler, but just make a couple tackles. He's doing it. He's covering guys well. He's playing damn good football, and we've been critical of him, so I want to give him his due. He's doing a very good job.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to bring that up too. We've been unapologetic Dante Jackson haters on this show since before the season started, and it's time for us to start apologizing because he has played well. So we are sending our sincerest apologies to Dante Jackson for all of the rude things we've said about him being inconsistent in the past, even though we have a valid point.
You know who's starting to get on my shit list, I guess you could say.
Who's that?
Our punter, Charles.
Dog.
Man, what
happened to him?
Elite, bro.
What happened to him? He used to be so good. Now it's like
the MVP of the preseason for me, because he was just delivering dimes, just putting balls perfectly, in the corners. And
maybe it's the. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, man. He's had a couple that have just been very porous punts. I mean, thank goodness our defense is so good we can stop people. But man, you do that against the Chiefs, dude. That's 6 points automatically.
I'm wondering if last year when we had Teddy and we were just punting way more, is his foot getting cold on the sideline now because he's not being put to use the way it was last year? And so now he just goes out there and it's his one punt a game and he's just pressing too hard because it's his shining moment. Last year he was punting 10 times a game.
It could be.
Smaller sample size maybe. It just, we don't see the good ones anymore, so it just feels like they're way worse. I don't know, but he's been atrocious. I mean, absolutely awful. And he's been so good in the past. That's what the crazy thing about it.
I know. It's weird. And, I don't really know what happened with Pilardi. I know we had him on the team a couple of years. I guess I always thought he was a pretty solid punter. I don't know. But
if I remember correctly, Charlton came in and just beat him out in the preseason.
Really?
I can't remember exactly how that went down, but I want to say that's what happened.
But I will give a shout out to Zane Gonzalez, making some field goals, making some PATs. I'll take it, man. That's all right.
I'll tell you what. I'm sorry, Tanner. I know I keep interrupting you, but the moment Joey Sly missed that extra point.
Oh, I got hyped.
Right as the game was falling apart for us, that gave me the boost I needed to not put my head through the window.
Yes, that was I have nothing against Joey Sly. It's just because he was our kicker, and we saw that before, and it just was that was us at one point.
That kept me okay, because there was a point, especially after all those bad calls, where I was just ready to have a meltdown, dude. And then Joey Sly came out there and missed it wide right, and I was like, all right, a little bit of justice in this world.
And then he drills like a 53-yarder. I'm like, dude, that's perfect Joey Sly right there.
Yeah, I'd expect nothing less. The only thing that would have made it more Joey Sly is if it was a 63-yarder.
Exactly. But, moving on to I think we're going to come on and do a show midweek. Looking forward to Dallas, just because our schedule's a little bit different because we played on Thursday. I just kind of wanted to take a look at the game for a whole here. We can come on like Tuesday or Wednesday and do a show about Dallas and get ready for that.
Right on. That sounds good.
But thank God these guys are getting healthy, going to take some extra time off. Obviously McCaffrey and J.C. Horn are going to be out, but for the rest of the guys, just to get a break. For the most part, man, I'm liking the way that our team is being built up. Now, not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl this year or whatever, but this is how a good young team develops. They start off good. They've got good young players. They play well. They learn from their mistakes, and they get better. This is like, reminds me of like a young Seahawks team when Russell Wilson comes in and Pete Carroll. They've got good young guys. They're not there yet. Give them another year or two, and they've got guys everywhere, and they're building up.
Yeah.
Not saying Sam Darnold's Russell Wilson, but I think he's going to be damn good. And I haven't felt, last year I felt like, we've got Teddy. He's not going to, win the game. He's not going to lose the game. With Sam Darnold, I feel like he needs to step up and make a throw. He's going to do it. I've seen it. The guy's got a cannon. Mm-hmm. He almost had that long completion to DJ Moore. Shout out to him, by the way. He had maybe his best game as a Panther. He was a beast. 126
yards. I think he had 6 receptions in the first quarter. It was crazy.
Yeah.
First quarter, first half, something.
First quarter, I think he had 6 catches for 99 yards. He got me 20 and a half fantasy points in one of my leagues. So thank you for that. I also took a risk in one of my leagues. I said, I'm going to take the matchup here. I started Sam Darnold as my quarterback, got me 25 and a half points.
Tanner, can I tell you something? I also started Sam Darnold in one of my leagues.
Boom!
Because I had Baker Mayfield, who's been dealing with some injuries, and I was like, you know what? Forget Baker Mayfield. It's Sam Darnold's time. The best quarterback of the 2018 draft instead of some bum Baker Mayfield, the first overall pick of the 2018 draft.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the new discussion, by the way, in some of those talk shows, I think. Did the Browns make the right decision taking Baker Mayfield over Sam Darnold, which is hilarious that people are saying that now. So
Panthers start 3-0. They're like, oh, we should have drafted this guy.
Yeah. Right on, man. Sam Darnold all day.
Yeah, he's impressed me. The fumbles happen. He's just, that's something that he's learning from. He was getting ambushed a lot on the line. Just got to protect that ball a little bit more. But I think that's something that I was getting Kyle Allen vibes for a second, but I'm glad. I think that just had to, do with just having smaller hands or whatever. I don't know, but with Darnold, I think he's going to learn. He's learned from everything he's done so far. He's not killing me. What I like is that I just have this feeling like if this guy needs to step up and make a throw, he can do it, and that's what you need from your quarterback. Last year, if Teddy needed to step up and make a throw, I knew it was going to be 15 yards short. With this guy, I know that he can step up and make a throw. I mean, he was throwing some passes in between defenders that hit receivers in the hands that they drop. I mean, this guy was throwing.
Yeah. I mean, the talent is there with Sam Darnold for sure. I'm not sure he's ever going to be, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, but he has all the tools. He's got the arm talent for sure. So he may never be the game-changing type of quarterback, but as long as he's in a situation like he's in where the guys are around him, it's obvious, in these first 3 games that he can do it.
I'm telling you, I'm getting good Jake Delhomme vibes.
Yeah.
Because let's when Jake was bad, he was bad, but when he was good, he was a top tier quarterback. He had a cannon. He could step up. He could make throws. I mean, he made a bunch of Pro Bowls. Got when it came to in some clutch situations, when good Jake showed up, he was as good as anybody. And if we can get more good than bad, there's no reason he can't be a top 10, top 12 quarterback.
Yeah. Speaking of Jake Delhomme, I think that's probably what Sam Darnold's going to have to show next to take that next step as far as being a franchise quarterback is coming up in those clutch situations like Jake Delhomme used to all the time. So who knows, that could be against Dallas where that situation arises and we're looking at Sam Darnold like, all right, we need 3 points, we need a touchdown. We need a scoring drive right here to win this game. Can you do it?
Absolutely. So I was actually at the when I was the past 2 weeks I've been at the games. If you've been in the team store, they're selling like a lot of throwback jerseys like Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith, Kevin Green, Sam Mills. Those are like their older school players. And one of my buddies, I can't remember who it was, was like, "Why are they selling a Jake Delhomme jersey? He's not that good." I was like, "Dude, Jake Delhomme, not the best quarterback we have, but he's an OG and he had his moments. He's essential in Panthers history. He might not be the best quarterback we ever had, but people forget how good he would be sometimes."
No, you can't tell the story of the Panthers without Jake Delhomme. No way. Especially not only the fact that they went to the Super Bowl, but that he took them to the Super Bowl, but all the just classic games where he just came up as clutch can be to win the game for the team. I mean, even in that one season, I mean, it was ridiculous how many games they had come right down to the end, and Jake Delhomme would find a way to pull it out.
Exactly. So, yeah. Screw you guys.
Shout out to Jake Delhomme.
And I think he's on radio with the Panthers. I've listened a little bit. He has a good voice for radio. I actually like tuning into him whenever I do. So, but hey, man, Panthers are we're doing well. We're 3-0. We're the only 3-0 team in the NFL as of today. That might change tomorrow, but that's okay.
We'll claim it while we got it.
Next week we'll do a show talking about the Dallas matchup and hopefully some updates about injuries and things like that. But yeah, man, we're 3-0. It feels good. I like the mentality that I think we're gonna have next man up. It sucks to have McCaffrey out. It sucks to have J.C. Horn out. But hey, that's why you draft well and you get guys that you think, because injuries happen. This is the NFL. We're not the only team dealing with this. Happens to everybody else. So you're either going to get on board or you're going to fall behind, and we need to get on board.
Right on. And if you're in the Wilmington area, join the Port City Riot on October 3rd.
I'm putting in my application.
Yeah, I'm going to start filling out that application. They're looking for 15 new members, and you could be one of them.
Hey, I mean, we could be the official podcast.
Yeah, I think we might need to work that out.
We could do a live show from Jack's.
Hey, now we're talking. We might need to do that.
We might need to.
Big things popping over here at the Primetime Carolina podcast.
That's right. We are this has now become the Tommy Trimble Appreciation Podcast.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. If you don't rock with Tommy Trimble, then you need to just turn us off right now, because we are not the same.
I wanted to ask you one more thing before we got out of here today.
What's up?
About, our running game now. McCaffrey's out. I feel like people are being a little hard on Chuba Hubbard because he obviously no one's going to replace McCaffrey. But, some of the balls that were thrown his way, like the one on the goal line, was a tough pass to catch, kind of like overhead to the side. I mean, you look at the stats, if you scroll up a little bit, I think he ended up with like what? Scroll up a little bit and see what it was. I mean, the guy had 11 carries for 52 yards. That's not bad. I mean, give the guys – we don't have the best O-line. It's not like McCaffrey was bursting off huge gains behind this offensive line because they're opening up holes for him.
Right.
Give the guys some time. Yes, we've got other guys that we should bring in to help carry the ball, but people give the guy a break. Let him work in there. He's a rookie. He was a third-round pick for a reason. I mean, he wasn't our top pick. I think he can develop and be better over time. I think people just need to be a little bit more patient with him.
Yeah, I think looking at it, objectively, I would say you're right, Tanner. I think, but I know I was guilty of that during that game, looking at Chuba Hubbard and thinking,
I was
getting mad.
frustrated.
But I think that just comes with it. We're used to watching one of the best running backs in the league, and when he's not there, of course our expectations are going to be high. So I mean, yes, I agree with you. You're right, but at the same time, I know I'm guilty of it too. So,
I am too. I was getting mad, but then I had to take a second and be like, just think about it. And then your mouse is hovered over David Johnson's name, dude. Remember when he was like the top pick in fantasy a couple of years ago? Now he had 2 carries for 11 yards.
Yep. Times change quick in the NFL, don't they?
Le'Veon Bell, I don't even think he's been activated by the Ravens yet.
Nope, he hasn't.
Crazy.
Maybe tomorrow will be his day, his time to shine, but probably not. They seem all right, without him. What's his name? Tyson Hill and Murray. What's Murray's first name? Latavius Murray, is that right?
Latavius. He's a good back.
Yeah. So I think they're fine without him.
So, hey, if this would have happened and he was on the bench or he was still in free agency, the Panthers probably would have worked him out, I think.
Possibly so. I hope to see us sign Duke Johnson. I think that would be a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can still get that receiving type threat out of the backfield and not give that up completely.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's all we've got for today. Shout out to the Port City Riot. We will be there rioting next Sunday against the Cowboys. God, I love playing against the Cowboys because there's so many of their fans. And when I went to the home opener a couple years ago and we played the Cowboys, their fans were just running their mouth. I had this one guy in front of me. He was just – you would have thought he was the most armchair GM of all time. And once we won, they had to pull me away because I couldn't stop. I kept saying, how about them Cowboys? Where are they going? Like, I was just running my mouth, and he wouldn't say anything to me. And he was a complete scrub. God, there's a lot of good people on the other Cowboys fans, but damn, y'all are annoying.
Hey, man, I can't disagree with you. You know what? I could go on and on about the most annoying fans in the league, but I think we'll save it for another day because that's a 20-minute conversation if I get going.
I'm going to go out on a limb here before we go. For me, it's easily, because I've been to 2 games with these people, the Cowboys, but my number one is the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't stand Eagles fans. Good Lord.
Hey, you know what, man? Steelers fans. I can't not say it.
I've never been to a game where we've played the Steelers, so I can't say, like, I know general Steelers fans, but I'm basing mine off, like, games.
Real fans.
Actual fans. And, I mean, hey, shout out to the Eagles because, damn, they took over the stadium. I mean, they do show up to games, but, God, they were the worst. There was a fight at that game. I remember it was on ended up being on Twitter. They got in a fight, Eagles fans and Panthers fans. I can't remember.
Dude, I went to a Giants game. It was 2012, Thursday night Giants game, week 3.
Oh, I remember that. We lost.
Yeah, we got killed. There were Giants fans everywhere. I guess it wasn't too bad, but there were a lot of Giants fans there. Just in my section, there were 3 fights. Just in my section.
It's always those. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say it's teams from the North because the Jets. We just saw them play. Their fans, I mean, they like to talk a lot of smack, but it was tasteful. For the most part, they seem like pretty respectable people, at least from what I saw. I enjoyed the banter between us.
But when your team is horrible, it probably makes it hard to talk trash. Because, I mean, they were pretty loud before kickoff.
They were getting. I was getting the
JETS chants.
They were. That's the thing, man. And they had the audacity to try to get rid of keep pounding while we're getting JTS Jets in the stadium. I'm like, what the hell,
dude? I don't know whose call that was, but they need to be fired expeditiously. That's my new favorite word. ASAP. Well, Get Tepper out of there because you can't get rid of Keep Pounding. You're not the Panthers without Keep Pounding.
Come on, man. Exactly.
Trying to rewrite history over here.
No, can't do it. But yeah, we'll save that for another show. But I just had to get that off my chest.
Yeah. And now if we get that conversation going, I'm telling you, this will be a 3-hour podcast episode because I will just go on and on about all those fans who can't name 5 players on their own roster, Steelers fans. Everyone in North Carolina is a Steelers fan for some reason.
And
for me, literally know nothing about football.
My least favorite team is the Saints because I cannot stand the Saints because of the past couple of years. Don't get me wrong; they had a great thing going for a long time, but damn, do I hate the Saints. But their fans, for the most part, were the guys that I was next to. They were talking a lot of trash, but it was very tasteful. They were good. We were dapping up, high-fiving, and messing around. I mean, it was good. I only had one guy that was behind me that went to LSU, and he was blackout drunk, and he was the absolute worst guy. But we smoked him, so it didn't matter. He went home with his tail behind his legs.
Hey, man, that always makes it a lot easier when you're up there in the nosebleeds with opposing fans.
Dude, but hey, my girlfriend was like, because she was like, where are we sitting? I was like, don't worry about it. And then we got there, and she's like, holy shit, this is so high up. I was like, hey, this is where the diehards sit, all right? This is the 500s. This is where it goes down. We don't sit down there with the wine and cheese people, man. We get
those are the just here because they have disposable income people.
Those are like the corporate tickets that sit there and you cheer, and they're like, hey, sit down. I'm like, no, I'm going to stand up, take my shirt off, and throw it around.
I'm telling you, the back row is the place to be, man. You can stand the whole time. There's no one behind you.
God, I love being in the 500s.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the 500s, and shout out to everybody who sits in the 500s. Y'all are our folks. Y'all are our people.
That's right, our people. But that's all we got for today. We'll put this up, and then we'll come back midweek, talk about the some injuries, talk about the Dallas game, see what's going on, and we'll try to get to 4-0, man. This is the biggest matchup of the year we got coming up. I feel good. I feel like we can beat them, but it's gonna be a tough one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. It's our toughest matchup of the season, but I think we're gonna step up. I feel like we're gonna step up, and we're gonna show people we're legit. And I think if you go back to 2015, I think that's what it took. Us getting to week 4 and then beating the Seahawks. I think that's when people finally took us seriously. I think us getting to week 4 and beating the Cowboys this year is what it's going to take for people to finally take us seriously. And I think we're going to do it. I really do.
You mentioned that Seahawks game. Probably my favorite game ever as a Panthers fan.
It is definitely way up there. Definitely
up there. It's for that. It's between that. And this might be a low key banger here whenever we beat the 49ers in San Francisco. Yep. Hard-nosed game. God, I
good
love
one
that
too.
But,
yeah, I remember Mike Tolbert running over Eric Reed. That was my favorite part of that game for sure.
That was a game. Everybody was getting knocked around. I loved it. I loved the go.
That was football. That was an old school football game.
I remember Thomas Davis popped somebody. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, it was that running back, number 32.
Damn.
Yeah, he smacked him. The ball went flying.
Yep. God, I'm going to watch that when I get out of here.
Good times. All right, man. Let's wrap it up. Any last thoughts?
No, man.
I guess that's what we've been doing for like 20 minutes. But
yeah, still. We've been rambling. I'm sorry. We're going to do a whole show where we just ramble about random shit. But, hey, go Panthers for 3-0. Hope everybody gets healthy quickly. And next man up, let's keep it going. Keep pounding, baby.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend.